Okay.
the single family rental property was our favorite for a while. Our market has seen dramatic appreciation since 2019, pre-COVID.
Mm.
And so now the price, I'm like, who can afford this stuff? And I'm just because I'm used to what it was 6 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are kind of selling those, capturing the equity that we built up over that big appreciation jump. Doesn't mean I don't like single family. I just, I kind of
See the value. Yeah.
a little over it right now, but I'm sure it's great.
Hello, and welcome back to the Pete Podcast, where we discuss the latest in REI tech, trends, and inspiration. My name's MJ. I'm going to be your host as usual, and I'm really excited to welcome a special guest to our episode today. He is an investor, a coach. He's also the founder of Deal Finders and Deal Finders Club. So for those of you who are listening today, whether you are looking to find your first or your next deal, you have to chime in and clue into this episode right now, because I'm really excited to welcome Andrew Lucas to our show. So Andrew, thanks for being here, man. How are you?
Thanks, MJ. I'm excited to be here. I know, John and Amy are great people, and excited to meet you and kind of get to know your story. And let's see where we go today. Hopefully we can help the people that are listening.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's really neat. What I love about what you guys are doing is that your software and Deal Finders is really, it is helping people who are interested in jumping into investing, right? And maybe they haven't even done their first transaction yet. Or it could be, hey, you're seasoned, you have an existing portfolio, but you're looking to find deals. So I want you to tell us, what are you up to with Deal Finders? How long have you guys been around? And why do our listeners need to hop on the bandwagon right now?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. So I'll just go back kind of where in the world we came from, because I think it helps, calibrate what we're talking about. Where my wife and I, right before we got married, I got a house, and I thought I was going to be rich, but I thought it would be 30 years before I actually could use that money, because I bought it straight out of college. I did have a roommate help pay with the bills, but we weren't making any money monthly or even yearly. We're negative, right?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
but it was like a 30-year plan. I thought in 30 years this mortgage will be paid off, and then I'll have some retirement income. And I bought that house, and then we had a couple more, and then after a few years of marriage, my wife and I, in 2015-ish, 2 kids, one on the way, 4 houses that sucked. They were just draining us. They were draining our time, our energy, and our money. But we didn't really know that we were doing it wrong, because we didn't have a community of people to ask questions or to listen to or to hear. And so I was just buying it because I thought that's what you did, right? And so finally in 2015, Michelle and I said, this isn't working. Either we're going to sell these houses, get rid of this. Like, I'm tired of fixing toilets on the weekend. Or, thankfully, an agent had given me a book about how to actually invest in real estate. And I read that book, and I was like, I think we can actually make money with rental properties monthly. We're doing this wrong. And so my wife, as generous and gracious as she is, she said, all right, if you think you can do it, let's do it. But she said one thing: don't take money out of my account. Like, don't take the money from the diapers and the milk,
Wise woman right there.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so we did. We jumped in. We set a goal. We said we wanted to flip houses to buy rental properties so that we could be free from the 9-to-5 kind of the chains, right? She was going to quit her job, or at least go part-time. That kind of changed. But basically by 2018, we had 35 rental properties that were paying us monthly. So one of us could leave, and then the other one was able to leave our 9-to-5 job the same year, because we found what's called wholesaling, where we were buying properties, selling quick. And that was my day job. I turned managing hotels, which is what I was doing, into wholesaling. And so all of that came from the opportunities of deals, right? So the local houses that were in our backyard, there was opportunities all around us, including ones we missed because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what to look for, what to listen for. But thankfully, I had some good agents, and I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. I've been here my whole life, and so there was people. I had referrals. I had a network, and so we
That's
were able
great.
to get those deals, those 35 rentals plus the flips before, all through. We didn't market. We had no marketing. We were not sending postcards. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a billboard or a TV commercial. It was all through what we call the wide fan method, that we teach in Deal Finders. And so that's where this all came from. Was uh, in 2018, we were full time in real estate, and when I was in hotels, I was on the board for the emergency housing for the state. I was on the state hospitality board, hotel board. So I was really connected with the community and the industry. I went into real estate and I looked for that connection and I could not find it. It just was not there locally when we were getting started. So we started a community of investors to come together. And when we started that, what we found were people were asking Michelle and I, how did you do this? How did you get to
Uh-huh.
this place?
Sure.
And I was like, y'all, look, I hired a coach to help me flip houses profitably. I hired a coach to teach me to wholesale. I hired a coach to help us evaluate rental properties. Like, that wasn't the plan going in, but every time I found a deficiency in what I knew after that agent gave me the book, I realized I don't know a lot. So every time we found a deficiency, we sought out people or education, events, programs, whatever we needed so that we could learn that and
Mhm.
accelerate the learning curve, because we didn't want to
Why start from scratch, right?
start from scratch.
Yeah.
Why
100%.
do trial and error when the error is just going to cost you more money, more time, more energy, and we didn't want
Hmm.
to waste that.
Yeah.
So that's where Deal Finders Club came from. So if you take
Okay.
that back, where then people started asking us about it, and so all we did was start sharing the exact steps that we used to get to where we are now. I mean, now being full time and investing for 7 years now,
Hmm.
we've bought and sold hundreds of properties. We currently own, I think, 95-ish units of rentals today.
Okay.
Um, we buy and sell every month a handful. And so uh, all that started with the wide fan method of finding deals in our local backyard.
Hmm.
And that's what we hope to try to share with people and break down some of those barriers, some of those um, beliefs that people have that are telling them that they can't do it for one reason or another.
Hmm.
We try to shed those
Yeah.
limiting beliefs.
Well, I think it's a really beautiful thing to hear about the wide fan method, and judging by your background, right, working in the hotel industry, being really entrenched on some of those local and state boards, kind of being entrenched in your local community, you're probably missing that also, right? You're missing that sense of, it's just even when you have, even to be able to celebrate the successes, or bounce off ideas when things don't go as planned. So I imagine even just reaching out and building those networks, and relationships with the coaches along the way gave you, you're not in a silo, right?
Right.
You're with people, and able to kind of share the good and the bad as you kind of go through the journey. What are some of those, you started getting into it, Andrew? What are some of those limiting beliefs that folks have that you've come across when they think, when you're talking about getting into investing, and how to find a deal? What are some of the common ones that you come across?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I've talked to a lot of people, and every person is different, and every struggle is their own, but
Sure.
they are so similar. And I'll talk to. I mean, I could talk to people right now, and there's probably somebody listening that says, "Yeah, Andrew's so handsome that he could do it, and I can't do it." I'm like, "You don't know what you're talking about, right?" There, we make things up, right? And I don't know how tall I look in this thing,
Hmm.
but I'm like 5'7", so it's not that either, guys. It's not a height thing. Uh, but we will make things up of, what, I wish I could invest in real estate, but I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. I don't live where I grew up, right? I talked
Hmm.
about my local network.
It's a common one. Yeah.
That's very common, but that's not real, right? We put that barrier in place because on the other side of that thing, the other side of that belief is very uncomfortable action that you have to take.
100%. Yeah.
And so we put those speed bumps, those hurdles, those barriers in front of us because for whatever reason, I mean, our whole life, usually we can be going down, looking down a road, and then there'll be a turn, a barrier, a wall. And it's like, oh, I'm not meant to go that way. Let me look to the left and see what's over here. And that happens throughout, like from kindergarten. I've got 3 young kids and they're outside. I'm at our office, but it's summertime. So they're here. And, we see it all the time throughout the young ages and then adult ages, right? Like, oh, I want to be a pro baseball player. I got to the end of that wall. Let me look left, right? And so we put those same barriers in place for something like real estate investing because we're used to that. But the community, the local networks, online things like this podcast, we hope to try to open people's eyes to say, you know what, real estate is one of those things that literally anybody can do. You can get over those hurdles if you get plugged in, get the knowledge, get the information, and take the action, right? So I think I answered your question, but we have all kinds of limiting beliefs, and I can tell you right now, there's people listening that will have hundreds of them, but there's the one that if we talk to them or if they hear it, they can actually get through it. And the best people are the ones that just get started in investing. They just
take that first step. Well, what is, I think what's, there's so many different kinds of folks who get into investing, right? You were just touching on that. And what do you think is one common thread that's like a must-have to set yourself up for success, whether you're coming in with your own full-time gig, a 9-to-5, doing this on the side, whether you're doing this, with access to private equity, regardless of your starting point, what do you think is kind of a common recipe that you've noticed for people to really set themselves up and lay a good foundation?
Yeah, I think it's the willingness to take that action and be comfortable. I say this is be comfortable getting uncomfortable, because taking the action, you might fail. You might fail in your face, but ultimately, who cares, right? Who cares when you fail on your face? The reason we hired coaches and the reason we have our deal finders community and club is because if we build that foundation, kind of what you were just saying, like if we can give you the foundation of education, of like the barriers, like maybe some of the laws or some of the things to stay away from, right? The real high risk. If we can help you see that and see what your foundation, your base layer is, then when you start taking steps and taking action, you can go up, and then you might fail, but you're not failing all the way to the bottom. Every time you take that action, you're moving closer to success. And in real estate, we can get very specific on buying properties that aren't as risky. They're not in a flood zone, right? They're single family. They're not priced higher than the average in your market, right? So these are some of the risk limiters that can help you, be more comfortable taking that next step. And so the foundation has got to be some specialized education, right? Learn exactly what you're doing. And I was a bad example of that in the beginning. Learn what you're doing, get connected and plugged in with a community to help you with that. And then be comfortable getting uncomfortable. So just taking that action.
Yeah, I think you're really describing kind of the pillars of what a growth mindset are, right? Yeah. So learn, connect, grow. You can't grow if you're not willing to be a little uneasy. Finding out the things that you don't know, because there's a lot that we don't know. And like you mentioned at the top of this, there was so much to know, right? There's so much to find out about and learn about. And you have to kind of be willing to put yourself in that space. So it sounds like Deal Finders Club is an awesome community for people to, at various points of their REI journey to tap into. Do you guys also have a software component to that that's helping people find deals, or is it primarily through getting to know your local network, and who's around, that people are just saying, hey, I'm looking for a buyer for this, or I'm looking for a seller? How does that kind of work?
Yeah, we do have, just from the needs of our community, we have put together Deal Finder data, which allows people, I know your CRM is great, like managing the leads. Deal Finder data helps us research, pinpoint the potential leads, right? So prospecting in today's world, if you're not using AI, you're missing out. We have that all plugged in. And of course,
Yeah.
it's not artificial. It's just a whole lot of data in one place and ways of aggregating that to help you do this business. So we have that put in because people were asking for it. Ultimately, we have a online, we have a course, we have things that help people, but really the true benefit from our community and so many others that are out there is that community, is that the people and the person who's leading that has been there before and can help you get through your hurdles, your logistics, your actual deal, running the numbers. And when you have someone like that to help you, just like what we did when we got started, it allows you to jump through that trial and error. Like I said, when we had
and expedite the process, right?
Yeah.
So
we had little kids. We didn't want to waste time and energy learning the business. We needed each deal to be on purpose and to be profitable as much as possible, so that we can move to the next. Like we had a goal and we needed forward. Each thing to move us forward. And so that's ultimately what we help people with.
It's really fun. As I listen, I think I'm just reminded of the importance and value of what community brings for all of us, right? It creates a certain sense of depth that allows us to slow down, if you will, and really engage with those around us, those within our local markets, whether we're talking about investing in real estate. And at the same time, it almost gives you this ability to suspend time and enjoy and savor the relationships and the people around you that you're building your business with. Yeah. And yet at the same time, you just said, Andrew, it also saves you an immense amount of time of your learning curve, so that you have a steeper learning curve and you can start scaling and optimizing and growing faster. So it almost has this counter effect, right? Where it slows certain elements of your experiences down and yet like hyper tracks other elements so that you can kind of focus on what comes next. Yeah. And I love that because that's something, as you mentioned, that's something we think about a lot at Pete. We're data nerds. We'll say it over and over again. We love to give people access to good data so that they can optimize, their REI businesses. And efficiency is kind of at the heart of that these days, right? So with the advent of AI, you need good systems that can kind of automate your business and help you scale so that you can think about the next big thing or solving the next problem. Or preventing it, right? Yeah. So I'm curious to know, so outside, it's nice to talk to other, software geeks, if you will, but like outside of our two softwares, outside of Pete and outside of Deal Finders, do you have a favorite software or kind of system? And it could be real estate related, or it doesn't have to be. It could be something in your personal life that you love using and you would be a brand ambassador for them, like yesterday, if they asked you.
Yes. Well, I won't say YouTube, but the how-to videos. I mean, what a great, if they had just set out and started doing how-to videos on how to fix stuff, like I just over the moon with that. But I'm not gonna say YouTube. But so I just got off of a call. We have Deal Finder data helps with data, and there's plenty of softwares out there where you have lots of things that are added in just to make the software thing bigger, and I have all bells and whistles. Yeah. My favorite is, and we looked for years for this, and I'm sure I have an affiliate code. I don't know what it is, but it's FlipperForce, FlipperForce.com.
Okay. I'm familiar with them. Yep.
Okay. For flippers, right?
Yeah.
And we again looked for years. I was using like Google Sheets and Excel to make this work, but it is a project management for flippers, not
Mm-hmm.
for contractors. So I used to have the huge systems that, for building hotels and stuff,
Yeah.
and it just was not right. And then, Deal Finder data, we actually have project management and deal analysis pieces to that. But I tell people, like, yeah, you can use that if you want, but it's kind of like a hammer and a nail, right? You want the hammer for the nail. If you have a screw and a hammer, you can get it through the piece of
Yeah.
wood, but you're not going to want to do that a bunch.
It's not ideal. Yeah.
So we flip. We have like 12 flips going right now. So we flip a handful of properties every year, and in having a dedicated project management software that is geared towards us and our needs, as an investor, as a project management person that does it for the point of profit at the other end, so that's one that not just that software, but the idea of that software being so specific and unique and geared, it's talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to use it, so
Okay.
I would encourage anybody to look for that, don't
Mm-hmm.
don't get everything. Like Pete is a CRM, is a CRM, right? There's other things, there's other pieces and parts, but you come to it for what it's designed for.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's
And in a market that's so saturated with software,
Mhm.
I think investors, you have, and entrepreneurs, you have so many choices at the end of the day, right? So finding what suits your business needs. And I think there's like a range of, there's some softwares where you have to customize everything. You kind of have to build it, right? There's others where you can't customize anything, like any little detail. Nope. And it's fixed. And then there's folks that are, somewhere in the middle. We're a little bit more of a hybrid model with what we do, but you kind of have to figure out what serves your purposes,
Yeah.
and suits your needs best. So bringing it back to investing and properties, I know you guys you started with single families, right? And you're now into even small commercial at times. Do you have a favorite kind of property that you like to do deals with? And do you have a least favorite? And why?
Um, you know, I think, but it's for different reasons.
Okay.
The single family rental property was our favorite for a while. Our market has seen dramatic appreciation since 2019, pre-COVID.
Mm,
And so now the price, I'm like, who can afford this stuff? And I'm just because I'm used to what it was 6 years ago.
yeah, exactly.
So we are kind of selling those, capturing the equity that we built up over that big appreciation jump. Doesn't mean I don't like single family. I just, I kind of,
See the value. Yeah.
yeah, a little over it right now,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's great. Uh,
Yeah.
so we are looking at small apartments. This is really what I really like. What we've got, got a 16 unit, a 10 unit, and a
Okay.
12 unit, and
Mhm.
so I just
And is
really,
anything, Andrew, let me just ask a quick clarifying question for some of our listeners if they're not as familiar. Is anything over 4 units considered non-residential and then commercial? How does it work
yeah.
what's the,
I would say that 5+ is a 5 unit plus is like the technical term for when
sure.
you go to a bank and lending and stuff like that. We did found this out the hard way, is a lot of lenders that do 1 to 4 will also do 5 to 9, but then
Okay.
10 becomes, this is another lender hard cutoff. So the person that does a 9 unit will not do a 10 unit.
Hmm.
The
Okay.
10 unit gets lumped in with the 150 and 300. So
Okay.
if you're doing a 10 unit, it's almost harder than doing a one, because
Mm,
the broker that you're going to talk to is also talking to somebody doing 100 or 150. So
I
it's
see.
kind
Okay.
of a baby fish for him.
Yeah.
So we now, now that I know that, we stay away from the 10, looking like the 16, the 20s and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Slightly more. Okay.
Really like the way that those economies work. The property management can get a lot done, save money on plumbers when they go out and do 2, 3 things at once. Just so much that's helpful when you have more units in one place.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
I'll take that. Yeah. And one thing I wanted to get to double check is, so for deal finders, is that nationwide, or is that primarily for, folks who are in kind of the South Carolina market or nearby markets,
Yeah.
um,
So we started with just the local meetups, right? We're
okay.
coming in and live events. We still do live events just about every week. But
Great.
the Deal Finders Club is nationwide, and it is
Mhm.
what we talk about is the same in every community that we found. We have members and partners all over, is finding the deals in your backyard with your
Mhm.
own effort, right? And so your own connections, your own sphere of influence, your own local agents and wholesalers and that sort of thing. So what we talk
Okay.
about, what
Great.
we teach and coach and share about works in every market as long as it's your market, right? So
Sure.
virtual stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar, but we don't do that. We feel like there's enough opportunity where we live that we can build the business we're looking for.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the focus on human connection. I think right now with tech and virtual, and there really is, we're so much more, we're so connected, and so frequently connected, whether it's texting or calling or this or that, emails, but there is something missing in that, and that really, happens as much as possible with in-person, get-togethers, meetups, events. So I love what you guys are building. And I would say for anyone who's listening to this episode, for all of our audience members, if you are looking, like I said at the top of this, to find your first or your next deal, you do need to get in touch with Andrew. You need to see what they're doing over at Deal Finders Club, because it is, really all about collaboration and getting to build and grow and scale, with some good folks around you, cheering you on and also helping hold you when, things don't go as we plan.
That's right.
So we really appreciate you, Andrew. If there's one last thing you could tell, viewers, to stay away from, any lessons that you guys learned early on back in the beginning days, what would that be?
Oh gosh, I there's
And you
plenty
get
of
only
lessons.
get to share one. So
Yes, but the one that came up, and so not saying this is the most or the best or least or greatest, whatever, but the one that came to my mind is never partner when you could hire. And my mentor, my coach says this all the
okay.
time, but it is so true for people in real estate specifically. It's not just he talks about it for other people, but in real estate, because, and I see it all the time, especially when we're new, we're like, I'm new. I need some help. Let me talk to you. And then two new people get together or,
Mhm.
and they're like, we're both new. Let's partner up. And then you're just, it's not like a 1+1 and now you're two. You're literally like dividing yourself, because now you have two people that don't know what they're doing, trying to do something, and it becomes worse. And so, that don't partner up, find somebody, whether it's a coach, mentor, program, community, someone that's further ahead to follow, to, to to take lessons from, whatever that is. But you don't want to partner with them. And I'll tell you, the next piece of that is, even if you partner early on, when things go well, that's
Mhm.
when the partnerships become more difficult. So
Interesting.
if you can
Okay.
hire, stay away from the partners. It's so tempting in this business to partner, and you could run together, be friends, the community of it.
hmm
But when you start saying, I'm going to give you some money, we'll split money, we'll do deals
It gets odd.
half.
Yeah.
It's
Gets messy.
it
Well, and
gets
really
messy.
what I hear you saying in all of this, because I think that's it's really common, right, for folks who are just starting out to want that camaraderie and to kind of share that, spread that fear, the fear of taking
Yes.
that leap across with someone they know or just with another human, right? But that newbie energy can be it's not always grounded. And so what I hear you saying when I hear when you say hire someone, or um work with a mentor or a coach and find someone who can kind of help you grow and think outside what as you're learning, is really invest in yourself. Be
Yeah.
okay uh investing, and know that you're laying some groundwork for some major things in the future. So I love that. Well, thank you, Andrew. This is awesome. I wish we had more time. I could talk to you about community for days.
Yeah.
But in the interest of, keeping this to what it needs to be, it's really a pleasure to hear about what you guys are doing. And, for all our viewers out there, check out Deal Finders. All the information will obviously be linked here. But like I said, you need to get in touch with Andrew if you are looking to get that first deal, that fifth deal, that 25th deal, and beyond. And if you're trying to do it, not really in a silo, but, together with some good people, then invest in yourself by giving yourself that community. So thank you again, Andrew. We appreciate you, and looking forward to seeing what more is to come from Deal Finders.